As most probably you can feel, it's a very complex relation, and it has to do with creation itself, with the definition of creation itself. The will of the creator to create in order to reveal itself created an exile of his presence, and the exile of createe, which are the createes, which are part of creation, from its presence. Okay, so one can say that there are different parts of creation. There is, we're speaking about two ways of sort of understanding or perceiving the presence of the creator. One, that it encompasses all creation, which we call circumlight, meaning that infinity is encircling a sort of space then in which something different is happening. From the will, there was what we call tzimtzum, which is expulsion of all light, which created a sense in the root of all createes, which is Malchut, that actually she doesn't, it's a will and a notion that stands in front, you can say, of the creator, but her sense was that she has nothing of herself. But then there is the will of the creator meeting the incapability but deep wish of the createe to have some sort of a relationship. And the media of this possible relationship is called the screen. Because the screen, or the intention to have such a relationship, creates a new vessel, which is called a return light. So, and since then, since the establishment of that intention to allow the creator to actually be inside this space, and is called the line. Okay, so we have something like this. We have creation, which is all around it. It's encompassed by infinity, or by the creator's light, meaning quality. And then in terms of how the createe can relate to it, there is some sort of a condition which allows, actually, if you like, something like this to happen. So in that, you can say that there is a presence of the creator. And all that, which encompasses it, is what is called vacant space. Or in Hebrew, it's called halal panoi. So every vessel, meaning consciousness, that does not establish in itself an intention for the creator to be able to extend itself, cannot be in contact with the creator. It belongs to what is called halal panoi, okay? Empty or vacant, okay? We call it, it's vacant space. Okay? And this is a space within all creation, you can say, that actually has the ability to have the presence of the creator inside. And all this is actually states of humanity or the createe that did not manage yet to actually evacuate their perception in favor of the creator's perception or his will. Okay, so Rabbi Nachman actually has two definitions of questions that stems one from the vacant space that is a result of the breakup of the vessels, and question that comes from vacant space, which are to do with what I just showed on the board. And there is a tension, so it sort of try to answer the question why in certain times, places and spaces we can feel the impression of the act of the creator, and let's say definitely when we speak about postmodernism perception of the truth, so many people cannot even relate to the notion of the creator, and that is called vacant space. Question from vacant space. You see, there is a difference between allowing different narratives to exist or to express themselves, and let's say the presumption of let's say modern postmodernism is saying that there is no one truth, therefore all narratives are valuable and they have the same value, because we cannot actually predict or we cannot actually assume any prediction in relation to the truth. But the premise is that there is no truth. So they have an utterance or a saying which is in a way claim about the truth. And their claim is that there is no one truth. Okay, so it's an inner contradiction. But there is a different way to look at it, which suggests that you can be tolerant, not because you're weak and you don't have any good argument, but because you're very strong and you know that everything has its place. And therefore, you can be tolerant because you're strong with holding the idea that there is truth. And it's a different expression that did not come yet to realize their relation to the truth. Okay, it has to do with how we perceive corporality and its relation to the spiritual. Let's say as a law, one can say a law of perception. Okay, everything that happens in creation, including vacant space, is an impression of the act of the will of the creator. There are spaces in which we can perceive it, and there are spaces, mental spaces, in which we are not able. It seems that the creator is saying you need to search, like, there is a children game, I don't know how it's called in in English or in American, when you approach something, it's someone is saying to you, it's when they hid something from you, and when you approach it, they're saying hot, and when you, yeah, and when you withdraw, it's the name to describe it is cool. Yeah, it's getting cold. It's very much to do with Amalek, meaning Amalek is an indication for Israel that they are getting cold, that they are moving away from the space and time in which they can feel and perceive the act of the Creator. But as a whole, as the plan, there's nothing that actually does not stem from the act or the will of the Creator, including vacant space. Rabbi Nachman is saying that actually in vacant space, you can find, because of our doubts and because of the question we raise there, we can find more of the Creator willing to create a vacant space for us. Because vacant space for us was created in order for us to grow into the right connection or the right relationship with the Creator. So one can say that the absence of our feeling is more than, and how we will act upon it is more the intention of the Creator than the places that we can feel in. It's already achieved, one can say. Okay, the presence achieved. So, in order to establish the right relationship, which is a return, what we call a return light. Return light is in Hebrew not a question of just relation or just how to relate or the attitude towards. It has to do with the whole notion, which almost does not exist in the English word, except something which is by proxy, which is to repent. But tshuva is not to repent, it's to return. Yeah, it's to return, but not to return not with empty hand. It's to return with an answer. Okay. To return with an answer, what is the answer that is the ability and the will that we were given from, one can say, the guardian that the Creator left to take care of the creativity, which is called Binah, or the Big Mother, the Higher Mother, to teach and to train all creatives in the way of being able to bridge between their existence and the possible life that they have. But unless we actually deeply understand the difference between corporality and spirituality, we cannot the division that occurs between them, we cannot bridge them. So it's actually two opposing natures that the design was to unite, but you need to first to wish for that union, and to wish for that union you have to surrender the natural will, which is the will to receive to oneself, to something higher. Otherwise you keep the division, you keep the separation, and the separation is not the separation from the act of the creation upon us, but it's a separation for our ability to perceive its presence while he's acting. Okay, so we're saying that everything was created by the will of the creator, but the exile, meaning the not being able to perceive it, is part of the exile, and it's part of the definition of corporality. And the belief that there is a redemption, there is Geulah, is part of the way to bridge it and to reconnect it. So it seems that it has to do with the part, the duty or the mission of Israel to inside the definition of the duty in relation to time. They are the timekeepers of the difference between the possibility of exile and redemption. Okay. If for some reason they're not managing to fulfill that, the example for all creativity is coming through them. It's not that others will not suffer, but not as intensely and clearly, one can say, as Israel. This is why I was saying in an opening words for newcomers to study that Israel got three things in through tribulation and through suffering. Suffering is not actually the torments. It's a better or more accurate. One is Torah, second is the land of Israel, and the third is actually the world to come. So what are the torments? The torments is actually being able to change the nature of taking into account or having the leading value of our life, the importance of our life, and not the sorrow of Shekhinah or of the creator of not being able to extend itself to its creator. So when you are Israel, you need to surrender and accept it. That in a way you are one can say the lakmus paper of humanity. Okay, so it's showing its colors, one can say, for the rest of the world, to see whether or not we're able to be partners or part of redemption, which is the gift. The gift of Israel to the world is the idea of redemption. But redemption comes with a way, with means and ways of how to be partners in achieving that, not to be left alone as automation or consciousness that has an automatic growth of their value or their ideas about themselves or about the creator. So this is why Torah is coming. It's a set of lights, one could say, that enable us to cope with the growth of constant growth of the will to receive to oneself, and to bring us back with justification to the whole journey. Okay. So as you can see, it's an accumulative perception of humanity through its history, of its relation with the creator. A good established, one can say, constant relation is spirituality. On and off, not separation, is corporality. Okay, so there are two states of attitudes, and they express themselves according to, one can say, the value or the value of of measurement, of weight that it plays in our life. So goodwill of wishing to be spiritual is not enough. Even wisdom is not enough. Great wisdom is not enough. You need to have a very specific light that is called Torah. That Torah is rotating in the right direction, the fulfillment of the will of the creator with the createe, for the createe to be able to value, to feel, to appreciate the plan of the creator in relation to all creation. Okay. So Torah is to do with the creator, not with any God or any specific religion. It has to do with the wholeness of it, with the oneness of it, and how to approach it. Okay? So it has to separate first the two states of existence and life in order for existence to grow the need to bridge itself to spirituality. Otherwise, it maintains the separation, though it is connected through the creator's will and its act of creation, but not aware of it and not conscious of it. And therefore, it's moving against, in itself, against the increase of presence of the creator in our world. And that is called corporality, the separation of our consciousness from that. Okay. So first you need to define it, or to see that there are two different parts, and then look into how to connect them. Because if you assume that they are naturally connected, there's nothing for you to do. So you actually discard the whole value and meaning of the vacant space, of why we have been created in the first place. We have been created in the first place to be able to do that work, to cultivate that kind of relationship. If we don't, it's called corporality. It's the automation growth and evolution towards the aim of the plan of the creator without any participation on our part. Okay. Yes.